Hello guys, I'm back with another video for you today, and I didn't want to leave you guys hanging once again. I haven't been coming up with really any new decks in particular, but I have been playing quite a bit of Anna. This is a pretty standard list, and at this point I think it's quite optimized. I've been winning a fair amount of games with it. I thought I'd just bring you the deck, of course, as well as some gameplay, as always. You know, just for you guys that have an appetite for Gwent content still these days, of course. So, what is the deck? Well, it's pretty much value, Witcher-based Anna, lots of locks, removal, and slave infantry combo as well with Vreemd. Kind of the main ways to get your points. You also have Vivienne, which is very good, Leo and Peter for the tall removal, of course, as you do in most Nilfgaard decks. The Bronze Core is pretty straightforward for Nilfgaard. You've got Brigades for thinning, Knights for helping with the Leo Peter, Infiltrators to get a bit of carryover potentially on the Dry Pass, along with Trehan to do the same kind of thing, which, you know, he happens to be pretty good against Skellige as well. Maybe stopping them from thinning all the way down to 0 or whatever with their coral or whatever. Pretty good stuff. We also have Slave Driver for the damage and 2 Something Iterant as well. Pretty decent 4-drops, which usually get more than 4 points. Sometimes they're 4 for 4, which is okay. And apart from that, Shillard counters quite a lot of stuff. Skellige is included in that, with Olaf maybe being hit. And even if you're against Iced, I guess, Vildkarl could get hit by it, which is very good. Scoia'tael, you've obviously got boosted up units, Big Dragon, Great Oak, etc., which get hurt a lot by Shillard, and you've got monsters playing big units as well. So Shillard's pretty good against a lot of things. Don't have Gregoire on this list, you could play him, but focusing more on the slave infantry, synergy with Vreemd, and yeah, other removal tools, and all the rest of it. So, pretty powerful deck. Nothing really too creative or original or different, I'm sorry to say. I will maybe try to experiment with some new stuff in the coming days. Definitely next week I'll try to do some new stuff with, of course, the patch that will hit then, and presumably change some cards around, do some balance changes and whatnot. Hopefully we'll innovate a bit more then. But with that being said, let's jump into a game or two and see how this one plays. Okay, first opponent's going to be a Meve. Can be a little bit tricky, although all of the removal we have with the witches and stuff should definitely help us out. And I think getting rid of Infiltrator is pretty good. It will allow us to push round 1 quite hard if we want. Same kind of story with the Knight Errant here. Get rid of that. And the lock is nice, allowing slave drivers to maybe get a bit of value and maybe remove some things here and there in this round 1. Don't have Orcs in hand right now, but, you know, we can still maybe kill something with Letho. That's got potential for a bit of damage. We'll see. And, you know, Brigades, we'll get them out. We'll get the Roach out as well, hopefully, with one of our gold plays. Going to be a Fisher King start. So, probably some shenaniganry of some kind happening in this game from this Meve player. Could be artifacts, could be Huber even, maybe. Who knows? Let's play the Brigade first. Just do the thinning. Why not? And then we can maybe choose to go with Letho or something to kill that, or even Leo is a Leo target, and I think that's a pretty good one. Typically can be a little bit hard to find Leo value against these engine focused decks, although, you know, Northern Realms typically does have kind of bigger units with stuff like Anna maybe, or Windham or whatever. Either way, this looks pretty good for us. I'm going to boost up that guy, so we can't really kill him very easily to deny the vitality. That's fine. Probably just happy to play another card, I guess, here of whatever type. Maybe just a slave driver, I suppose. And we'll avoid hitting him, I guess. Doesn't really matter, though. Naneke is pretty good Knight Errant target. I think we'll take it. And potentially set up a kill on it, although they'll probably buff it or whatever. Peter, we're maybe looking on to Centurion Knight. Could be quite nice. Or onto Anna. That's an option, depending on how many boosts they use. We definitely want to win this round, if possible. I don't know how easy that's going to be, you know, to achieve. Peter would help a little bit, but probably locking this does more for us, honestly. Either way, I don't know. We don't really have much pushing power here. You know, we've got a Letho we can play. We don't want to play Seret without having Orcs in hand. Shillard's a bit awkward to play in round 1 as well. We could go with the Peter, but most likely we're going to have to lock it anyway later, so let's lock it now. And then we can maybe use Peter on something else. Can also get more value from Slave Driver, should we need to do that. I'm really worried about this Fisher King. Might mean they've got some kind of really scary thing that we need to deal with, right? Which is, yeah, it's a little bit scary, but... Okay, I think Slave Driver onto killing Enchantress is probably fine, in case they have a second one. It doesn't really matter at this point because the round is not going to be going on much longer, but may as well kill that, I suppose. Get rid of maybe a weaker card, and then we've got Peter here. If they pass, if not, then honestly we haven't really committed too much in the way of, you know, really good cards. Vitality is going to take a long time to proc, so that does give us a kind of a window to push a little bit here with Aletho. I think we're going to do that. Really low tempo play that rune word onto Naneke. Obviously they want to do that on Tridem normally, but they didn't have one. Vincent's not bad, but it does give us a very nice Peter, so we'll take that. Be happy with it, I think. And we're running out of players, but hopefully they are as well. Especially if there's some kind of combo or long round focus deck or whatever. And actually not going to even shoot with the Prince. That is a bit weird. I think I'll play Shallad here, as I don't really care too much if, you know, we don't have that for later on. We care a little bit more about Seret. We can maybe even win the round on even by playing this first, as their last card will be a 1 point play. Although obviously the Prince is a good amount of points, so... Oh, and wow, it's a Scytheman, okay. So we're not going to be able to take the round, but I think it's probably alright. We bled really hard, so the round 3 is going to be pretty short, you know, all things considered. We didn't really commit that much. Shallad, maybe not the best card to play round 1, but it didn't really hurt us too much. We did end up swapping him for a Scytheman, which isn't particularly good, but couldn't have known that was in their hand. Let's mulligan the Knight Errant. We want to keep Infiltrator or Traherne. Probably Infiltrator's a little bit worse than Traherne, so we'll mulligan that. Play the Traherne on the pass, and we've got some pretty good cards here. Okay, Kedwani Knight botching. I think botching we can get rid of. Real threat if we can't actually remove it, which we might not be able to if we don't draw Orcs. It's pretty likely we'll get him, but you never know. And we do have our leader, so we should in theory be pretty okay in this short-ish round against Meve. Should only get a few points from our leader, we should be getting more. But we'll see how it pans out. We'll get rid of Infiltrator, of course. Orcs is a great pickup, and I'm going to keep this, I think. Hand is pretty damn strong. What could we even want that's better at this point, right? The rest of the deck is not too amazing. Okay, first things first, we can start with the Sire, of course, get Roach out. And then we'll hopefully be able to remove things with Seret Orcs. Get Vivienne onto Roach, that would be very nice in terms of the points. And hopefully the slaves will work as well, and we can remedy those. Looks like they're not actually going to kill the Roach, which is really good news. I think we'll allow them to proc the Zeal on this, though. Don't really see a reason why not. I'm actually going to go with the... Oh, this is probably wrong. I should probably Vivienne the Roach first. You know, it's... Potentially they'll kill a Sire with, like, a sword or something, but... I don't think it's the end of the world, and that's a summoning circle. Very late though, and very short kind of round, so don't think they're going to get too much value from that. It seems like it was some kind of Hubert combo-y type thing, but hopefully we've dodged it. We'll go with Anna next turn to see what their last few plays are, see what we need to answer with Orc, Seret and whatnot. If it's worth killing the Vessel or anything like that. They'll probably start with it. Let's see what's going on in their hand. And there is a Gregoire there. We couldn't have set that up, so I'm not too worried. They are trying to set it up, though, it looks like. Probably want to take him still. I mean, the other cards here are not particularly good, right? So, yeah, I think we'll go with this. And, whoops, I should have played that on melee, but... Why did I play that on melee? Oopsie, I forgot that he has to be on melee to shoot. My bad, misplays, whatever. If we lose by a point, that's a problem, but I don't think it will happen. They do have Gregoire, though, and that's going to be worth quite a few points. We'll play our Seret here, and then Orcs onto Vess. Shouldn't really matter, but maybe they're pulling an Orders unit with the Summoning Circle or something? I don't know. In theory, I think we're just totally safe here. We had a very good hand for round 3, and their hand was, you know, not terrible, but not amazing either. Nothing too spicy going on from the Meve. I guess they wanted maybe a longer round with Hubert or something, plus Lacerate, but didn't allow them to have that. It was still kind of close though. Guess they didn't have any engines for you to remove in round 3, that's partly why. Anyway, Pretty straightforward win, I suppose. Let's jump into another game and see if we can win again. Okay, let's jump into the next game and see what we can do against Ithne. Definitely one of the stronger decks in the meta right now, I think. Can be pretty tricky for us unless we're able to kind of hit them with Shillard for, you know, really good amount of points maybe later in the game. I don't mind this hand, pretty good in terms of the golds we have. We might not want so many golds though for round 1, we might want to play bronzes out and whatnot. Don't mind these guys, I'll get rid of one of them I think, and then the cavalry not particularly good against Ithne who usually don't run engines. Could give us a bit more slave driver value I guess, but I don't think it's really worth considering too much. It's going to be an agitator opener. And tactical advantage. Pretty common, pretty regular stuff that you see against Ithne. We can go with our thinning play and then they'll go with volunteers presumably, and that'll allow us to Traherne without worrying about hitting a dwarf that we don't want to thin out of their deck for them. So let's go Traherne now. Milva, Cleaver, Archer. I think Milva's probably the one we want to get rid of. Cleaver's pretty good as well, but Milva can be a lot of points in that long round. It's just a card we can't really interact with or deal with. Cleaver we can maybe play around a little bit now that we know it's a thing. That is pretty annoying. Means our Sire of course won't be able to put Roach back later on, so bit of a bummer there. Let's play the Ignite Errant now and the Agitator and get those points while we can. Leo we might struggle to get value with, but usually they do run Gregoire and maybe even the Great Oak, so those are pretty tool units that we can maybe hit with that later on. Here, Regis looks fine, we could play it. We probably want to get rid of a bad card first though. No reason to kind of overcommit in this round if we don't need to. Having last save will be nice for our Leo, but not necessarily the most important thing. We'll kind of see how it goes here, I guess. Could commit Serret. It's going to mean that our kind of later game stuff is a lot worse with things like Orcs and whatnot. So we could go with a Regis, but then that kind of commits us to playing Vivienne as well. I don't mind passing here, but again, it doesn't feel particularly good. We could even commit Anna and just try to snowball into a 2-0 here. Honestly, that might be the best chance we have to be perfectly real with you guys. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for the Greg, maybe hit their Gregoire, and then there it is. We can go from there and maybe try to push a win on even here. So they had Gabor, they had Greg, and they had Ida. We can play around those cards. We can maybe Serret the Gabor. And there's going to be a pass. We do manage to win on even. Of course, we don't have a leader now, which is a pretty big downside. And if we pass, we are going to allow them to just play their Gabor, which I can't say I'm too happy about. So I think bleeding here will be probably the best option. Maybe keeping this is probably not worth it, right? We'll get rid of it. Vreemde's fine. We have this opening play with Knight, and we'll go with that now. Since we won on even, we're a little bit more kind of free to bleed here. Won't be the end of the world. Of course, if they're able to keep leader charges and not lose this round, then that's going to be a bit of a problem. So we'll see if that's the case. Alright, Cleaver's pretty painful, must be said. Let's go with the Shillard now, we can then Vivienne it. Potentially. If it survives, which it might not. We might have just forfeited a card here, although there is Ithlin. Kind of dodged, you know, dodged that with the Shillard or whatever, but I think we have to push here a little bit. Otherwise that Gabor carryover is just so painful. It effectively recoups the card advantage that we've gained through winning on even, so I think pushing here is the best way to do it. And, you know, we have a hand that's pretty equipped for pushing. Although right now we're pretty damn far behind. Let's keep going though. Let's see what we can do. We know they have Gregoire, Ida, and Gabor. Those are 3 cards that they still have in hand. Most likely. They probably wouldn't mulligan any of those good, powerful cards away, right? Vreemde on these is pretty nice. I don't think we're going to get the card at this point, although Gabor comes down as an immune body. That's pretty nice for us, I think. Go with the Vreemde. And eventually they have to play the Greg, which will set up our Leo. So, you know, as long as we get Ithne procs here, and maybe the card that's been buffed by Ithlin, then we're feeling quite good. Although our deck is not looking too hot at the moment, since we've kind of played all of our good stuff in this round. We could play Leo, although that's going to mean, you know, Gregoire play will definitely keep them ahead. So I think I'm going to go Serret and just kind of pile on the pressure here, maybe even go all in this round. We can maybe keep Orcs, although it won't be too valuable even with Lethal or whatever. Yeah, we know Gregoire is a card. We know pretty much nothing else about their hand other than they have 4 extra points on a card. So maybe Sheldon as well, waiting to kind of wreck us. Lacking the leader does hurt, of course, but that's, you know, the price we pay for winning on even. And the alternative was, you know, maybe better, but I think at that point we're maybe just getting pushed a little bit too much in round 3 or whatever, with the amount of points that Ithne can produce. Alright, there's the Greg, there's the Leo, and we'll see if they can kind of make this point gap easily. We have managed to get pretty much all the leader charges from them, so that's nice. That is something. The only issue is I now can't play my Orcs because we're not going to get ahead, so we have to take the pass. Did get the Sheldon though, so we managed to get all the carryover out of them. And we managed to get 3 Ithne procs. And Gregoire and stuff like that, so it's maybe not the worst result ever. We could have had a card instead. You got to ask the question, would that have been better or worse? Hard to tell really. Let's get rid of Knight Errant. Peter might do something. Kind of hard to say. Might also be pretty useless. I think I'm going to mulligan it here. Infiltrator's probably not better, to be honest. But we'll see. I guess we'll play that now. Be a pretty obvious target for their 4 damage effects or whatever if they have them. But we'll see. And I think we'll now slave infantry. That is going to deny a Circe play or whatever, so we might actually be in a potentially a winning position here. It kind of depends what their last couple of cards are, right? If it's Circe and a bad 4-drop or something, then we might be winning. Definitely Infiltrator was not ideal, but we get the lock off on that. And that means, you know, 5-point play, we are beating only 4-point cards. Melaine is not one of them. And unfortunately that's going to be a loss. But pretty damn close. Definitely an interesting line of play taking there with the push in round 2 and whatnot. Might have been a win with a slightly better hand. I don't know. We didn't really have many good draws available as we used most of the good cards earlier. Bit of a tricky one, if I'm not going to lie. Definitely one of the strongest decks in the meta, and that is what it is. But could have taken a different approach maybe and ended differently. Who knows? Anyway, hope that satisfies your gameplay needs, of course. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Thanks a lot for subscribing if you choose to do that and get more Gwent content as always. I will see you next time.